Hello, I am Valor, and I'm with Christian Death, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
This is 70,000 Tons of Metal, the original, the world's biggest heavy metal cruise. 60 bands, 4 days, 1 cruise ship, only 3,000 tickets. It's like having an all-access backstage pass. January 29th to February 2nd, 2026. From Miami, Florida to Nassau, the Bahamas, and back. Go to 70,000tons.com and book now.
How are you, my friend?
Very good, thank you.
You're out in, what, LA?
No, I'm in Maine at the moment.
Oh, you guys are from it. I thought I read you from Los Angeles. You're just from Los Angeles. You live up in Maine?
Well, we have a studio here.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm in the green room of the studio right now.
How cold is it up in Maine already? You getting snow?
There's snow out there, but it's melting just a little bit.
I'm in Richmond, so we're still a little bit warm, but
Oh yeah.
anyway, let's talk about Christian Death. So you guys, I just saw you got a big South American tour coming up, huh?
Yeah, excited about that. It's always good to go there.
I've heard that their fans, from a lot of people I've talked to, South American fans in particular, are like really rabid, hard, heavy music fans.
I would describe people in South America similar to audiences in like southern Italy and Spain and Portugal, where I guess something to do with the warm weather. People seem to be rather more emotional.
Yeah, I think so. I 100% agree with you. But are you guys, how do you plan for a tour like that? Like, you've been in this business for a long time, and how do you plan and prepare for a significant tour like that? Is it something you just get used to, or do you have to get your sea legs back?
Well, we don't do it on a daily basis. So yeah, there's a lot of preparation. You have to, you're dealing a lot of times with adjusting your schedule, your biometric rhythm.
Yeah.
Your habits and stuff that have to change, and you have to deal with flying. And I mean, we're flying to all the shows. So every day we're almost, or at least most days we're flying. So you're at a fucking airport, which I hate airports.
Yeah. But it's probably better than being at a bus, though, right? Or no?
Well, the thing is that I used to like when I was a little kid. I used to love planes. I used to love flying places. But obviously, things have changed since 9/11.
And even now, it's getting worse. I'll bet you.
Well, I mean, apparently, or allegedly, they're relaxing some of the restrictions. Like you can bring more liquids. You don't have to take your shoes off. I'll find that out, next week when we leave. But we'll see. But it's never fun because there's too many restrictions. And,
Yeah.
I mean, you're stuck in airports and stuck on planes. And it's certainly not the best thing. Coaches are not my favorite way of transport either. I mean, you're cooped up in a bus. You can only go where the bus allows you to go. And what I mean by that is buses are big. You can't just bring them everywhere. So a lot of the times you're at a location which is not even by the venue because there's no parking, or you can't stop where you want to stop. You can't just bring it, hey, there's a great place to go and have a great meal. No, you can't bring the bus there. You've got to either park it somewhere and Uber it. And that sometimes is even more aggravation than just staying on the bus and sleeping.
So according to my research, you guys haven't released anything since like 2022, right?
Right, we have a new album coming out.
Sorry, my dog is barking.
The date, because they're still trying to organize the thing is that the last time we did an album, it was supposed to come out in 2021. It didn't come out till 2022 because of the pressing plants was so booked up. And I don't know what that situation with that is, so that we haven't really established a firm date for the release. But
Are you one of those bands that's always writing? Or do you sit down to write specifically for the tour cycle or the record cycle?
No, whenever I have the inspiration, I mean, that's how I do it. I mean, Maichi has her own techniques. But yeah, for me, I sometimes I'll just have an inspiration and I'll put pen to paper, or I'll pick up the guitar or piano or whatever, and start, figuring out what I want to hear.
You approach writing with like a theme in mind then? Like a concept, or do you just does it form itself from the songs?
Every album's been a concept, and it usually starts with the first song. The concept is usually inspired by, a feeling and some sort of philosophical concept of the ancient past, or the intent or expected or presumed, future that we may encounter.
So if you don't mind, I want to go back and talk about some of your earlier stuff. So your band's confrontational stance against organized religion and, I guess, conventional morality has always sparked outrage. But has there ever been a fan or critic reaction, positive and negative, that truly surprised you or made you rethink an approach?
There's been a few different things. When we first started touring in Germany was a lot more actually Christian orientated. There was the number one party was the Christian Democrat Party, and people just seemed to be a lot more religious overall. We had a lot of protests. I mean, pretty aggressive protests outside our shows. We even had the Archbishop of the Bishop of Hildesheim, which is a province in Germany, was quite the leading forefront of a lot of the protests that we had. We were actually banned from the country from their perspective. I mean, we still came in, but it was difficult. We had the police following us around. It was really difficult.
Was that effect?
We before the Wave Gothic Festival started happening, we were one of the first bands to be playing, because it's held in East Germany, and at the time it was when we first did our first show there, it was still just coming out of communism, and there was a riot. People ended up in hospital. Probably something like 26 people ended up, and I don't know what that was. I think it was wasn't really because of us. It was because I think that we were enough of an excuse to have a riot, because it was people, the young generation of Germany they needed to rebel, I guess, and the front of the building had huge plate glass entrances, like 20 feet high, and most of that was smashed, rocks and things, and we heard about it whilst we were on stage. We had to stop.
So does stuff like that affect your performances? I mean, is that in your mind as you're playing?
Yeah, obviously.
And that's going to be.
You're in a sort of a transcendental state when you're performing. At least I am. I'm living the music. I'm living the lyrics. I'm living the feedback from the audience and the energy that we're giving back and forth to each other. So, yeah, that affects you.
Are there any moments you can point to where the line between art and provocation blurred, even for you? And what did you learn about the power of shock value in music?
I think, just like a lot of people, I've always been rebellious. So, I mean, I can sympathize with rebellion. I can sympathize with being unhappy with the world at large. It's really not provocation. It's really just letting out frustration and complaining about, what's bothering you. And I mean, that's, to me, punk music was the thing that inspired me to be rebellious. It was a good outlet. And
yeah, I mean, it's cathartic too, right?
Yeah. I mean, goth is an extension of punk to this day. I mean, most of the people that we have are they're very rebellious. I mean, there's always something to complain about, and we're basically a tool for a lot of people's emotions and release, and it's for us the same. So they're basically just feeding off of our angst. But at the same time, having said that, we're not all about angst. We're all about creating, music that's positive and positive feelings. And so it's a juxtaposition. It's negative and positive. It's yin and yang.
So going back to what I said at the beginning when I thought you were from Los Angeles, you kind of were cut your teeth in Los Angeles, if I'm correct, right? So that was during the 80s. How do you think that 80s metal culture, if you want to call it, or hair metal culture, or excess, or whatever the heck it was, debauchery, affected Christian Death's writing? Because you guys were all probably neighbors, right? Playing at the same venues on different days or something?
Yeah, I mean, one of the popular venues at the time it still is, I guess, is the Troubadour.
Yeah.
And one night it would be punk, and another night it would be metal. Actually, in fact, one of those venues, because metal was way more popular than punk, and still is.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be mostly metal bands, most nights, and then we'd go in there and would be the Odd Cards, or most any of the bands that weren't metal. Yeah. So it affected us. The scene was interesting in LA. It was different from anywhere else in the U.S. Yeah, we had a very vibrant scene. We had a lot of turnout and a lot of participation, and the police were involved. We've seen riots, that were actually at shows, especially punk things, in the early '80s. There was a lot of police interaction, helicopter riots, with that many people around. And it wasn't really over anything. It was just an excuse probably for even the cops to let out their frustrations on whatever they wanted to let it out.
Yeah.
Hospitalizations of young 14-year-olds. We were there was a show where the cops came in. It was an upstairs thing, and they came up the stairs, and the venue there was one main entrance, and in the back of it was a fire escape. But they came in through the main entrance, and then they went in like this, and they circled the crowd, and they took their billy clubs, and they were smashing heads as they got to the center. And I saw 14-year-old girls have to go to hospital.
While you were playing?
The show stopped at this point.
Right.
Wow. Everyone was hiding from the cops, trying to get out of the way of the billy clubs. It was just a free for all. Police didn't wear body cams. They get away with whatever they got away with.
Did you ever imagine you'd still be doing that? I mean, this is pretty aggressive music and pretty, well, I mean, even violent at times from what I'm hearing. Did you ever imagine you'd still be doing it this many years later? Is it just built into your DNA?
I don't think I ever pondered that question, but it is. I never wanted to do anything else. I've been a musician since I was 5 years old, playing instruments and just totally into music. So if it continues to go on, I guess I'm still living and enjoying life,
Do you have like an out point, or is this just going to be, how will you know when it's time to call it a day?
Well,
or you don't?
I don't contemplate that.
Okay, fair enough. So what's next for you guys then? You got the record coming up. Are you doing any tours besides the South America one, or is that going to take you into the release of the record?
I'm not, like I said, I don't know when the release is, but yeah, we're looking at a lot of dates right now for 2026 in preparation. I mean, we've already, like, I'm mentioning it to you now, so I've mentioned it already in interviews, and we only just started in the last couple of weeks announcing that we're going to be releasing the album in 2026. It's called Mentor de los Perdidos, and so there's my little plug right there. And when the actual date is, it doesn't matter. All of 2026 we'll be promoting that, and all the shows that we do.
Fair enough. You got time for a couple off the record questions? I mean, off the box questions or out of the box questions? Not
Sure.
Off the record. If Christian Death could invite one historical figure to join the band for a single night on stage, living or dead, who would you choose?
David Bowie.
And what Christian Death song would you play?
Oh, I don't know. That's something. If that was to be a reality, that would be some deep contemplation involved with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we've got a lot of different songs that touch a lot of different subjects and emotions. And yeah, that's a big question. Couldn't just flip.
All right, here's another one for you. If Christian Death is renowned for turning taboo themes into art, if you had to design a surreal, immersive installation for a museum, combining your music with visual chaos, what would be the centerpiece?
Ooh, that's a deep question too. Wow. Um,
I mean, we can skip them if you want.
no, it would definitely involve humanity. That's what's coming to mind. I mean, you say museums, and I remember, going to museums and seeing, mannequins of cave people, in the wild. I mean, I guess that would probably be a piece of it. It's humanity is kind of intriguing to me. I'm very interested in history. We're very interested in culture around the planet, past and present. And for me, I've always explained that my interest in those things is really a way of trying to understand myself. Because if I can understand humanity, then I understand a little bit more of why I do things and what's the point otherwise. And I don't want to just meander around the world pointlessly,
Right.
without an aim, or at least a purpose.
Okay. And last one out of the box. Over the decades, you've had some considerable lineup changes. What's been the strangest or most unexpected way a new member has been recruited or entered into the Christian Death orbit?
Ooh, without saying any names, we had a tour where there was a person in the band who had issues, and quite dramatic emotional issues with medication and one thing and another. And on our way to the very first day of the first show of the tour, he basically left the vehicle, literally, and was gone and didn't return again. So we had 48 hours to get a drummer for a major tour, a major U.S. tour. And that was insane. So we had to fly somebody in who didn't really know the songs, and that was a challenge.
Did the first shows go off well? I mean, did you improvise well enough?
The first show didn't actually happen. We were there, but there was so much chaos that we just had to pull the plug, and that wasn't good. But by the second show, we were on a coach, so we had time to rehearse because we were driving from somewhere close to you, somewhere like Kentucky or something like that, and we had to get to Chicago. So it was a long drive, and we had time to set up, pillows as the drum kit in the coach, and get our guitars out and go through the set. And then it worked out, and poor guy had to, just stay up all night learning songs. And, it worked out right. It worked out pretty good.
Right. Well, then I know I said that was it, but I got one more for you if you don't mind.
No problem.
So, in an alternate festive timeline, Christian Death is is tasked with curating a goth holiday parade. How would you decorate the holiday float?
Like Dios de los Muertos in Mexico.
Yeah, fair enough. That's actually perfect.
Lots of skulls and flowers, orange flowers. I just love being in Mexico for that stuff. So that would be my approach to that. I know that Maitri really likes Day of the Dead too, so I'm pretty sure that would go along with that idea.
So you've been down there for the Day of the Dead celebrations?
Oh yeah, several times. Yeah, we've played there, in and around that a couple of times as well.
Like next level stuff.
It definitely is, because it is an odd thing, and I think it goes back to the Aztec culture of their fascination for it. It's really more about as opposed to like in the U.S. where we have Halloween. It's really about remembering the dead, remembering your ancestors, and so that's you go into restaurants and there's always like pictures of the family and of the deceased family and offerings, and I've always been charmed by that.
I have a master's in religious studies, not just Christianity, but like religious studies in general. And I was always fascinated by like the the folk saints and that sort of Mexican or even South American culture, history, religious kind of thing, where a lot of them kind of overlap each other, but they're very reverential for the ancestors and that sort of thing. It's always been very interesting to me.
Well, I guess we've got a lot in common, because I'm fascinated by religions too. I mean, in fact, I'm actually in the middle of reading the first book of Enoch, which is a pretty good translation. And you're always adding more information to the conundrum of what religion and what's inspired people to have these faiths.
Right. And then to not include, like, you're reading the book of Enoch, right? So, I mean, it's always interesting how that wasn't included in the grand canon of whatever, the New Testament or the Vulgate or whatever.
Well, upon reading it, what I can say is that it's too much. It doesn't serve a purpose. It didn't serve a purpose to the Council of Nicaea. It didn't have any of the interesting elements in there that they could use to their manipulation of the Roman, public at that time, and what they had envisioned on how they could manipulate them over the course of centuries, which they did. So if it didn't serve a purpose, it wasn't included like many other books.
Yeah, no, I agree.
If it contradicted any narrative that they, decided that this was our narrative, then it was left out,
right.
Which is common in history, in many ways.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't mean to take it down the religion aspect, but that's my wheelhouse. Religion and metal kind of is my thing. So
actually, you and I one and the same. So really,
I would consider myself a nun, probably, but I definitely am intrigued by all of it.
Yeah, like I said, it's like it is the thing. It's the thing that drives culture and has done for thousands and thousands of years. It's like the oldest book that we have that was, penned to stone on clay tablet, was the Epic of Gilgamesh, and the whole thing is all about the gods.
Right.
That was the first. I mean, if that is the oldest inspiration to have writing, then obviously religion is the key.
Right. No, I 100% agree. So anyway, that's all I had. If fans want to find you guys, is it just Christian Death online everywhere?
Yeah, we're actually starting a new website. I should put that out too. It's going to be christiandeath.band, and that's going to be starting in January 21st. We're just moving to a different platform that we feel is going to be more efficient than what we have. And of course, we have Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all those things too.
So let me ask you a question, and you can choose not to answer this, but it just popped into my head, and I am curious. We're talking about religion. Why Christian death and not Buddhist death or Islamic death or religion death, or how did you get there?
Actually, the biggest question that we always had for many years is why Christian death? Why not Christian life? Especially if Christians would ask that. Mm-hmm. And for me, the answer is that Christianity, as speaking about religion, is the most popular religion on the planet today. It's influenced us for over 2,000 years, and so it's quite a profound word. And death is the ultimate enigma.
Fair enough. I was just curious.
Two pretty profound words that make people question a lot of different things. I mean, two things that we can't really explain. Two words that we can't really explain, and together it's just the synergy of just perplexity and a conundrum.
Yep.
Of humanity.
Fair enough. Sorry, I took you down all kinds of paths, but
I like those paths. I'm on that road.
I like to chat and see where it goes. So
sorry,
I said I like to chat and just see where it goes. So
yeah, it's great. It's great. Feel free to get in touch with me if you have any other questions about these things for other things in the future.
Yeah, you know what? I've done a few films or independent films and documentaries. One I did on Christian metal years ago, and it did fairly well. And then last year for my thesis, I did a 60-minute religion and metal. That's all it's called. It's metal and religion. And I talked to, yeah. So and it wasn't just Christian, whatever, but I talked to like people from Enslaved and people from Enthroned, the real heavy, black metal, anti-Christian bands, to people that are really Christian metal or whatever. And it was a great conversation, and I learned a ton.
You think that a lot of those like Enthroned and stuff are really anti-religion, or are they just ambiguously, curious?
So it's funny you said that. I talked to Norna Guest from Enthroned just last week for the new record cycle, and we got to talking about that again. And he said in the beginning, the first few albums were definitely anti-Christian and, get out of our face. Now he's gotten to a point where he's into the occultish stuff or whatever he does, but he doesn't really care anymore. Kind of, you do what you're going to do, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to waste any more breath condemning Christianity or any of those religions. So I think yes and no.
Well, I think that's the wisdom of learning. People, if you spend time researching things, and if you formulate a concept where you've made up your mind about something, then you're just closing the door to any possibility of understanding. You have to have an open mind with everything. Otherwise, you're just ignorant, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Let's leave it there. I appreciate your time, man. Good conversation.
It was a great conversation. Great interview. Thank you very much, Bruce.
Absolutely. I'd like to try and keep it out of the box and not just keep talking about the record or the tour or whatever, because you can find that on Blabbermouth or anywhere else, but we try and get a little different here. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Be safe in South America, and we'll talk to you on the flip side.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Cheers. All right. Bye.